The one thing that everybody wants as a dog owner is a recall. The fact that the dogs can come back and can be safe and trusted when they're off the lead. And to be honest, when everyone says I need a recall, it's generally not the recall that is the prime problem. The problem is that the dog just wants to leave them when they're off a lead. So what is the thing that's drawing your dog away? And then you can recall on that. But on the most part, if your dog learns to understand that they have a radius in which they're allowed to go and to not go any further than that, then that is the key to getting a dog off lead. The recall should only be the topper for there's an extra thing happening and I need you to come back. For that, I need you to come back this way. I have a redirector, so it's a this way if they're starting to go on the wrong path or they are getting slightly drawn on an animal path. But for the most part, the dogs self-correct onto the right path over and over again. And if I need to recall and recall and recall and recall, then there's a problem with my dog being off lead. If I need to shout, whistle all the time, then you're probably that your dog is overstimulated, should not be off the lead yet. And this is where I recommend a long line, so the dog can still run around, but you are starting to, one, create their radius so they don't go so far. That's ran into there and came back out again. I'm just playing again now. And that will start to help bring the radius and start to control how far they can be so that they get used to setting into that thing. And then when you really need the recall for certain dogs that have the thing that makes them go away, which is wildlife, so rabbits, foxes, deer, birds, more like the social aspects, so dogs that want to go see other dogs and people. And then you've got environmental factors like your dog will always run away. I've got that, but also water. In fact, I've got retrievers purely here, so yeah, the recall for water was with every single one of these dogs, so that they don't just go and dive into the river, especially when it's high. And where we start with recall is engagement on the walk. So we're teaching the dogs to be aware of us and check in with us when they're on a walk. And if they can't do that on a lead 2 meters away, then how are they going to do it when they're 10 meters away and there's something more of interest? So slowly building up from close quarters to far away. Although ideally, even though I know my dogs are safe here for probably a good half a mile most directions, with sheep way over there on the top of the moor, that's dense woodland for a good half a mile, I still don't want them to go out of sight, and that's another key point. Because if your dog runs out of sight and they're not immediately going, oh hang on, I can't see them, they can find you again, that's the beginning of when you've got a problem, when the dog doesn't care where you are. Puppy's beating up the retriever. Nice. Recalls are always highly rewarded. I have recalled for those two, but I have fed every single other dog that's here. That whistle does never ever get shouted without a reward base. Ever. And that's why it generally always works. So the next component you need to make sure you're working through is that if your dog is pretty good off lead, if there's no distractions, and working through those distractions. So it does not mean avoid all of it. It says let's really identify which are the distractions that really draw your dog away, and then working with them hopefully on a long line so that you can counter condition that your dog sees that distraction, and rather than just going, they're starting to think first before they go. And if they do that, then you can start to get some engagement, and then hopefully even in the moment of them seeing the trigger that normally draws them away, that emotional state actually, with enough training, turns them around and brings them back. Luna always used to see, if she saw people in the background and like in the distance and a quiet path like this, in fact there is somebody up there, It used to be like, oh God, get hold of her, she's going to go. But now it's a case that I know when she sees the person up ahead, first thing she'll do, she'll turn to look to me. I'll probably say yes for her doing so, marking that moment, and then she will return to my side, and then I can heel her past it. So that trigger means Mum's likely to feed me, and this is the behaviour I do next.